Well, this happens, the subject-object reversal happens when you rely on something too much. It's usually in the history of literature, culture, and thinking, is that something higher creates something lower in order to enhance the being of the higher. Then something goes wrong, and the situation reverses. So you can see this in Golem of Prague, you can see this in Aladdin's lamp. Your servants take control of you. You can see this in theology. God's created human beings to... And then subject-object reversal happens, and God, again, according to Christianity, had to become our servant even to the point of death in order to solve the problem. My claim is that this is happening with the economy as well. The economy was supposed to serve us. Now we are sort of feeling that we have becoming the servants of the economy. The economy is whipping us. The economy is sort of forcing us into positions that we are not feeling comfortable with. You can see the same subject-object reversal when it comes to technology, for example. The original promise of cell phones, computers, and all the technological advances in which we are all embedded and we all enjoy it. But the original promise 15 years ago when we were buying our first cell phone was that it will give you more time. This is, of course, something that we wouldn't say anymore. We would even say that it's maybe, you know, it even intrudes to our toilets, to our bedrooms. We are working all the time. And it's possible, of course, to switch it off, but you will always have this, you know, is somebody calling me? So you don't have the choice not to think about it. Even if you intentionally leave it in the next room, you will still have it in the back of your head in some way, ordering your thoughts and ordering your attention towards something that you want to be switched off. So the most common diagnosis of the predicament or the problem that we have is that the economy is depressed, with which I disagree. I think this is a wrong diagnosis. The economy is not depressed. The economy is manic depressed. We have problems on both sides. And from psychology or psychiatry, we know that problems arrive in the manic period, suicides and systemic, the body collapses or the psyche collapses in the manias as well as in the depression. So if the problem really is manic depressive rather than just depressive, we need to give different pills to the patient, to the society. If we only had problems with depression, antidepressants would be enough, so to speak. So budget deficits and increasing the productivity would be a solution. But we are manic depressive, and I would even say that the bigger problem of our society is here in the manias rather than, so we need to slow ourselves down, and this is something that we don't know how to do. When growth is abundant, we don't know, or we know how to do it technically, but politically it's very difficult to actually slow down that amount of growth, not to kind of get entangled with all the bubbles that then burst and create all the havoc. So we need to be focused on two things. In speeding up, giving us more energy when we are depressed, but slowing us down when we are manic. The way we calculate growth is only the growth of riches. Yeah, so GDP is typically, and it's not even calculating the growth of riches, it's just calculating the speed of money transfer. So if a castle gets bombarded and rebuilt in the same year, GDP will grow in that year. So GDP was never even meant originally to measure well-being or to measure progress. It was an accounting device. So we have fetishized this one statistic, and to me, okay, of course, growth is important, but to me, it's a priority number 5 or 6. We as mankind have much more important priorities: justice, stability, peace, having our lives in order, having politicians doing what they promised, not stealing, and having actually efficient whatever. And then, yes, comes a priority number 5 or 6, which is growth. The moment you make one so there are many things that can be wrong in your body. The moment you start caring for this only and you think about this part all the time, you fetishize one part and destroys the health of the whole organism. Yeah, so in traditional philosophy or theology or even in ethics or in the common understanding, we have this image that good and evil are polar opposites. In other words, there's some imaginary neutral ground, and good and evil are same except for the minus sign. Yeah, so in absolute value, good equals bad without the minus sign. Now, there is a disturbing thought: what if the relationship of good and evil isn't like this, good, evil, but like this, that evil seems to be to us above good. So this is really what torments us today. We are whipped here in the West, not because we are poor and we have nothing to do, but what whips us, what torments us, is the idea that we could be richer, we could be better, we could be more advanced, and da-di-da-di-da-di-da. This is something that you find even in psychology, the idea of personal psychological growth. This is what you find in all those self-help books. This is what you find even very often in popular or populist Christianity, is that the role of why we are here is to be better and better and better, which is sort of fine, but if discontent is the driving engine of ourselves, we will never be content. So either we will be discontent and grow all the time, but then we mustn't complain that we are not content, you know. Yeah, traditionally what we hear from the newspaper is that Greece is, you know, lagging behind and that they should really catch up. But really, if you take 2 steps back, Greece is ahead of us. It only bankrupted 20 years ago before all of us. If we don't change our ways, if we continue doing it the way we've been doing it for the past 2 generations, the Greek destiny, so to speak, is the destiny of all of us. Shabbat is an interesting thing if you think about it. From all the 10 commandments, I would say that this is the most broken commandment today. It is the 4th commandment. That also means that it's the first one from the sort of the practical commandments. And one always has to wonder, why was it a commandment? Why was it not just a suggestion? You know, if you need to take it. Well, maybe because we human beings have this tendency that we can't stop. We work all the time. We think that we're here to work and to be more efficient. We can't relax. That's why in Hebrew tradition it was one of the most important commandments. If you read the Old Testament, they're obsessed with this idea of Shabbat. This, I think, maybe in retrospect, a couple of years back, when we look back in history, this could well be interpreted as the biggest sin that we are actually doing, is the inability to rest. The nature wants a break. Our technology wants a break. We human beings want a break also, but we are unable to give it to ourselves. Even if you think about resting or holidays today, it is a little bit perverse, because rest or holiday to us, in today's understanding, is a subset of working better. So we take holidays in order so that we are relaxed and we can work better. It is no longer we rest because we're done, we're finished, we have already enough to eat, and our children and everybody is already well. That's why we rest. No, we rest so that we can work better. Like in George Orwell's in The Animal Farm, from George Orwell, this horse called Boxer, he always promises, I will work better and more efficiently. This is the basic sort of the slave owner of ourselves that whips us. You must improve all the time. Well, either we in the West get used to the fact that the economy is not growing all the time, and don't get me wrong, I think it's nice when we grow in a sustainable way, but sometimes it also happens that we don't. Not every day is a good day, and if we don't get used to bad days, that they're just simply there and it's okay, this could be very destructive. So if we will be unable to bite the bullet, so to speak, and actually not take just the good from the hand of the economy, but also the bad, it could lead to the similar destruction that we saw in Greece or in Ireland and in other countries.